Okay, so yeah, I was trying to build a model for somebody with Asperger's, such as myself, based on a model that I previously designed or engineered for ideal psychology. So you can see up here we've got, this is the model that I came up with to explain human psychology, generally speaking. So it's essentially, you've got a continuum here, starting with punishment, which goes through to forgiveness, to acceptance, to tolerance, and it's like it moves around in a circle. So punishment leads to tolerance, to acceptance, forgiveness, punishment, so forth. These two elements here are actually part of components of justice, and these two elements here are components of love. Both justice and love make mercy. So the ideal standard for any human being is always mercy. It's not justice. People go to courts to get justice, but really what they want is mercy. You know, people say they want love, but they don't. They want mercy. So justice on its own is imbalanced, and love on its own is, you know, it's destructive. And I was thinking, well, yeah, the whole point about being somebody with autism is this thing we do called masking, where we actually appear to be normal like this, but in reality we're not. And then sometimes what will happen is when we become tired or irritated or somebody breaks one of our rules, then the real us, which is not this, is this down here, shows through. And I was thinking, well, these different elements here, this is the ideal standard about how a human being should be. How do they actually shine through in terms of autism? And I came up with this model, which I've sort of like thrashed around with and tested it, and it seems okay and kind. So what you'll find is all of the spaces are the same as with the normal or neurotypical model. However, the words have been changed. They've been replaced with something else. So here, instead of mercy, you've got deliberation, precaution. So we're always, you know, there's an amount of thinking, forethought before doing anything. In place of justice, we've got aggression. In place of forgiveness, we've got passivity. In place of punishment, we've got nihilism. Moving over onto this side with love, we've got irreverence. On this side, where we've got tolerance, we've got indifference. And instead of acceptance, we've got mania. And these are on a continuum as well, so they can go in either direction, backwards and forwards, depending on the situation. And when I looked at it, I felt, yeah, that actually explains me. It really does explain me very well, this model here. And I have to actually do mental gymnastics to actually do this model, you know, to be like this. That's not naturally how I am. I'm like this. Yeah, this is how I am. I deliberate. I still haven't got that hand of forgiveness, actually, to tell you the truth. I just don't understand that at all. So what I realised when I was looking at this model here was, though, that really, actually, it's the model for any psychopathology, you know, any sort of like mental condition that somebody's got which is not according to the norm, you know, by these so-called experts, who are not really on the inside. It could fit anything. It could fit, well, from the things that I thought about, the things that came to mind, which, like, for example, sociopathy, that could fit there on the continuum. And it sort of like gave me this sort of like notion that essentially, really, all of the conditions in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, that's the book that's used by health professionals worldwide to identify and diagnose and catalogue the wide range or spectrum of mental disorders. It could fit, it fits between these two models. So you actually do have a continuum here. We always talk about the autistic spectrum, and it's a wide range, but essentially that's what you've got with all of the medical conditions or the mental health conditions. You know, so you could imagine them fitting in a block like this. So everybody's somewhere in the world, is somewhere on that continuum that goes between these two models. And for each particular segment of the continuum, which is essentially this strip here, you've got varying degrees. So you could have somebody who's autistic, but they're also sociopathic as well. You know, you could have somebody that's manic depressive, but he's also, let's say, I don't know, I can't think of another condition. But you could have a range of conditions. And so, like, for example, punishment to nihilism. You could have somebody like at 10% on punishment side and 90% on nihilism side, but not necessarily so. Say for acceptance, on the acceptance scale, acceptance mania scale, he could be like 60% acceptance and 40% mania, like this. So you have a unique profile, and that sort of like takes into consideration the this thing about people saying that each person who's got autism is a person in their own right. And for me, because I'm autistic, one of the things I like to do is put things in boxes. So I like to be able to pin down and say, well, exactly what do you mean? You know, and what I found when I've been watching videos about people trying to explain autism, it's not been satisfactory. However, I find that this model is, you know, it encompasses everything that everybody's said, and it does it like in a consistent, cogent manner. So it covers behaviour and it covers cognitive function. I would say this is more like behaviour, whereas this is more like cognitive function. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, and yeah, I've actually drawn the models out neatly, and I'll probably post a link to those in the video description below, so that anybody can download them. Yeah, thanks for your attention, and remember to like, share and subscribe.